Hello and welcome to another episode of Divination Detectives. It is myself, G, and my lovely co-host, Alex, on the other end.
Hello.
So today we are gonna be talking about the Serpent Bearer and the Babylonian cover-up, the 13th sign of the zodiac, and whether or not we are being lied to. Does it actually exist? Does it actually not exist? Is it influencing us? We are going to be delving into the mystery. So, to give you a little bit of background and for ourselves to have something to go off of, this starts with basically seeing this news pop up, and I believe Alex, you have seen it too as well. Every few years, like clockwork, the internet suffers a collective identity crisis, and social media melts down. Viral headlines screening that NASA's changed your zodiac sign, and suddenly millions of Capricorns think they're Sagittarius. But today we decided to look into the vault and open this case up and what this kind of a 3,000-year-old secret actually is. And did NASA pull a fast one, or did ancient Babylonian astrologers commit the ultimate cover up? So,
Well, even if we go back to our moon landing episode, we were kind of touching on that, like how some stories kind of just keep coming back,
mm-hmm.
every now and then you think you forget about it, and then it's like, boom, oh wait, like let's keep questioning this.
Yeah.
But this is a very interesting topic to me because I mean, both of us study the tarot, and the whole tarot is set up, with the 12 zodiac astrology symbols. And in all our birth date zodiacs and all these things, so it would be like a crazy change for my brain to
Yeah.
welcome in this 13th sign. But anything's possible. I would love to, yeah, look into it and see what we come up with, because yeah, very interesting.
I mean, it does shift the entire concept that we're working with. And you yourself, as somebody who does astrology more than myself, I just sort of
Hmm.
graze the skin of the astrology, if you will. I sort of peruse the astrological waters. I know my signs and basic meanings, but I've never really delved that deep into it. I think you do it more than myself, but it's actually very helpful when it comes to tarot, when it comes to giving yourself a
Hmm.
little bit more depth in certain situations, and it can be very interesting when you're doing a reading, and sort of delving into the astrological aspect can be very much uncovering like personality traits or certain psychological aspects, emotional aspects that might be held within a person. So, to give us a little bit more info on the actual Ophiuchus, what did we come to the conclusion of? How is this pronounced?
Oh yeah. So the
Ophiuchus
name of the zodiac, this
of
is
the
what you're trying to
zodiac.
say. It's
Yeah,
it's
Ophiuchus,
called Ophiuchus or
Ophiuchus.
Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus.
Ophiuchus, whatever the right term is. I'll be using Ophiuchus because it
Starts
sounds
with
more
O.
bougie. It sounds more bougie, so I'm going to use that. So it represents actually a man grasping a serpent. It is the officially kind of the constellation serpents, and the sun actually passes through the constellation roughly between November 30th and December 18th. So we have pretty much during the time of Sagittarius.
Hmm.
And the kind of the roots of it are associated with Asphelius, the ancient Greek god of medicine and healing, who became so good at bringing people back from dead that Hades begged Zeus to strike him down with the lightning and then placed him up in the sky. So that's his basically constellation. That's the Asphelius in the sky as Ophiuchus. So Fuchsias in itself doesn't necessarily have to be an intruder if we look at it that way, but sort of the 13th suspect standing right along the ecliptic path, the actual highway the sun travels across our sky each year, right? We're looking at a basically just a trajectory with an addition of another constellation, right? So the sky doesn't have neat borders, which is one thing, and the universe sort of wavers and expands and grows and all of that stuff. We've known about that. Physics proved that. So the sun, sorry, actually passes through 13 major constellations along the zodiac belt anyway, right? We just
Mhm.
acknowledge 12 in the sort of standard Western astrology. And the 12-month math problem, which is really what the concern here is, around 1200 BCE, Babylonian astronomers divided the sun's path into 12 equal 30-degree slices to match their 12-month lunar calendar, right? So it's kind of nice
Okay.
and neat and equal.
Hmm.
To make 13 constellations, though, fit into a clean 12 slice pie, right? And it
Okay.
simply doesn't work because it's sort of unequal numbers, right? If you do that.
Hmm.
So it wasn't necessarily an accident, sort of say. Well, we will look into it whether it was accidental or if it was intentional that the Ophiuchus got dropped rather than, maybe it could have been Sagittarius that would have
Yeah.
been dropped, or Scorpio or Capricorn right
Hmm.
afterwards. So if you sort of think of that imaginatively, right? Think of it like dividing a pizza among 12 people when you've got 13 toppings available. So Ophiuchus was the anchovy of the ancient world. They just decided it didn't fit into, a
Right.
slice. So it was sort of an intentional slice to cut it out because of the 30-degree radius and the 12-month
Mm.
association
Mhm.
um, in that aspect. So the Earth axis wobbles slowly over a 26,000 year cycle, right? Because of this wobble, the constellations in the sky today no longer align with where they were when the Babylonians mapped them. That's one thing we have to acknowledge, right? So
Oh,
that
right. Yeah.
shifts. It's been a couple thousand years, and fixed to the seasons, the sun crossing equator at the spring equinox, 0 degrees Aries, right? It doesn't move with the physical stars, so that's sort of the fixed point, tied directly to the physical position of the constellations as they exist in space today. So again, we just kind of brought it up that it shifts and changes. So we aren't looking at the same necessarily sky as we would a couple of thousand years ago. And then the actual NASA aspect, which literally NASA posted about the 13 sign, like they are literally concerned with astronomy. We have to get
Mm.
that. It's like one of those memes on TikTok that I saw. What do you do? Astrology. And the other person's like, I'm an actual astronomer. Like, we do the same thing. No, we do not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We
And I
talk
feel like NASA
metaphysics.
is always trying to throw a dig in, like
Yeah.
against astrology.
Yeah.
So, yeah, almost feel like whatever this comparison, and it's like it's not even comparable. They're just like, oh, by the way, like we're not associated with this. You know what I mean? Like, but it is confusing. But I mean, it all makes sense with the number 13 because there's like 13 moon cycles in a year, and when we're working on the sun one, we have to do the leap year and all this crap, right? So it makes sense, I think, for the zodiac. Like maybe we're supposed to be doing a leap year
Yeah.
because we only
So
have 12, let's start, yeah, asking questions on this. So
I think
I mean,
that,
I'm getting the like, I'm definitely getting the gist that it's not imaginary. This is not a
mm,
fable. The pendulum's definitely saying yes on like, is it true? Like, did this 13th one exist? I'm gonna get some more. I'm gonna grab some cards. I am juggling
mhm.
Lewis.
Yes, no crime. So I think that I listened to somebody try and do the maths with like the 13th sign included and dividing the year basically into 13 parts. So we have 13 months instead of 12. And with that, you get the leap year is like completely off. You don't need it. Like everything starts to align. It is a bit different. The months have a little bit more difference and it's not 30 degrees, but everything else starts to align more nicely. So you have a more equal rhythm and consistent rhythm So it actually makes a bit more sense, which is interesting. Um, so it does work, I guess, for that matter. But yeah, I think that NASA in itself, as you're pulling the cards, I wanted to touch on that real quick. Maybe the NASA's involvement with that and like posting about it is very intentional, as well as trying to take a dig at like the metaphysical aspect. I think it's
Hmm.
also just getting a little bit of like media coverage and maybe getting a boost. Like if their numbers are down and nobody's talking about NASA besides like conspiracy theorists, they're gonna be like, "Hey, astrologers," and then everybody's gonna leap to their feet from the astrology community and just metaphysical community and be like, "Hey, we do exist, and we know shit about shit, probably more than you." And then people start talking, and it gets audiences involved behind maybe some of the larger faces in the astrology community. So I think it might be intentional, just sort of you know um getting the publicity. Look at the little card slinger.
I know he's holding my devil card.
He's holding the devil.
Well, because when I pulled the cards on, like, is it true kind of thing, like, what's the energy around that? And I got Princess of Swords reversed, and
Mm-hmm.
it came out with the devil. So the Princess of Swords reverse is like that, like repressing the knowledge. The students that study it, it's like because the Princess of Swords to me is usually a student, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like with those two cards, it's like, okay, we're going to suppress the knowledge, we're going to suppress the curiosity. And then the devil card was over it. So it's like, we're just, doing this for devil reasons to gain money, to gain resources. There's some kind of control that they have with this type of calendar. And I think too, it might have had to do with like collecting taxes from people and collecting grain and all of that crap too. Um, like the devil just, yeah, it feels very heavy. It feels very like, yeah, like top down, like being forced onto them. But the Princess of Swords kind of knows, like the people know the truth, but it's being slowed down
Mm-hmm.
or snuffed out almost. And then I was like, well, why were they doing this? And more pentacles came out, like to go with the devil card. I got the four pentacles reversed. Oh, this was when I was asking about NASA. So I got the four of pentacles reversed and it came out with the ace. So
Okay.
like to me, when the four is reversed, it's like they're dropping like, oh, we're gonna drop this meme, we're gonna drop this propaganda, we're gonna drop this ad because those things cost money. There are people creating them, you know what I mean? And when the fours reverse, it's like they kind of let that go. They've been holding on to something and then they let it go. And then it comes out with this Ace of Pentacles. So it's usually a reason to, I don't know, I would say with the Ace, it could be like making a new money stream, like trying to get more donations, trying to, yeah, sway the public to lead them down a different path, different belief. Um, but yeah, it's really interesting. It's almost like, okay, like, we're going to let this info go, but there's always something to gain when they do it. So it's not just like there's definitely intention whenever they
Yeah.
mention these things. 100% is how it feels.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
their
think,
intention is to create something out of doing that.
yeah.
So we can look more into it, but
I think that I have to agree with that because asking about, the whether or not it's real, what's the deal with it? We have the Queen of Swords in reverse, and then the Ace of Wands in
oh,
reverse, and then the World in
wow.
reverse.
Mm,
It
mm,
feels like very intentional that this was sort of left out of everything. Also,
mm.
considering the fact that I forgot to mention before, the Serpent Bearer or Ophiuchus constellation actually contains Bernard's star, which is
Okay.
one of the closest star systems to the Earth.
No
So
way.
to think of that, like, and it's between Hercules, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. So it has like this closeness aspect, how would it not affect Earth? So why
Yeah.
exclude it? It feels very intentional. It feels very much like it's a convenience thing. And also to consider the world coming through in reverse is like it doesn't fit the cycle. It doesn't fit the kind of the completion thing that we have going on. So I think for them it was like the what is suggested in the intro and as we presented it, it feels like it was more so like a mathematical thing. Let's keep it even, let's keep it nice and smooth and easy and very like manageable in that sense mathematically. But then considering, nature oftentimes not mathematical, whilst there is a lot of natural symmetry, we also see a lot of just nature doing its own thing and not being necessarily symmetrical and not being mathematically accurate. So I think it was more so a convenience thing to exclude it, considering the fact that, containing the Bernard star and that being like a close system to Earth. And it's interesting. We're recording this in July, but it's going to be coming out in August. But you can see the system in July actually on the northern hemisphere, July/August, around 9 p.m. You should be
Okay.
able to see the system. So again, it is between Scorpius, Sagittarius, and Hercules
Interesting.
in
I
the
gotta
sky.
get one of those like apps on my phone to help me learn all the constellations.
Constellations, yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever seen that? Like you just hold your phone up and it like shows you them.
No, I haven't. I have my dad taught me some.
Hmm.
But yeah, again, he knew a couple, not all of them, but I haven't seen the app, but that sounds fun and I should
Okay.
try that.
I
That's
forget. I'll
fun.
try to find the name of it, but I think there's a few different ones, right? But a friend of mine had it and showed me it once last year. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't know them very well. I know a few. I have books, but I find it so hard to like look at a book and then find it. Like it's way easier if someone like your dad shows you and points it
Yeah,
out and you have that memory. And then so yeah, I'm very curious to see what it looks like now and even just, to be better educated on what they all look like really in the
of
sky, like
course.
physically.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to ask too, like, what is the energy of this constellation or this zodiac? Like, if we're missing
Mm-hmm.
it in the archetype, because the zodiac really is like the archetype of the soul, right? It's like the fool's journey. It touches on every energy we kind of embody in our chart. So yeah, I wonder what kind of energy like that the cards will give us. So
Yeah.
I'm going to grab another deck because Louis got my deck all over the place. Okay,
That's
hold on.
fine. I think the name is also very interesting to consider.
Okay.
The serpent bearer. Because we have the water
Yeah.
bearer in Aquarius, right? And now we have the serpent bearer. And very close to Scorpio, right? It's right, basically, it would be right after Scorpio stepping into Sagittarius.
Well, I got two water cards. Like I got Queen of Cups, which is double water, and then Page of Cups.
Another, like, that's
Um,
also like feminine water.
Yeah, very feminine. So I'm getting that energy from it. It's funny you're saying serpent bearer because when you were saying that, I was thinking like I almost feel like the zodiac's supposed to come back at this time to bear the serpent. What are we dealing with right now? Like a world full of evil, systems that are full of evil, entire populations that are repressed and in toxic relationships with self and other. And it just seems like, if we needed an energy to do anything, it would be somebody to handle this kind of like, yeah, serpent evil thing that's like, crawling away from us that we can't grasp, and that to me has been a lot of like, the patriarchy over the years and the church and all of the things, right? That suppress the feminine. So to get these two feminine cards and saying they're supposed to handle the serpent, it's almost like, okay, bitches, like we're here, we're ready to deal with it. Like, So it's interesting because, everything happens for a reason. So there may have been reasons that, man wanted to suppress this, and then, but there's also maybe reasons for it to be coming back.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. I think it's a bit of a. Ooh, Lord. Okay.
What did you get for the energy? I'm curious.
I am. This time we don't
Mm,
have repeating cards, but we have the energy there.
okay.
We have the Two of Swords in reverse, which to me
Okay.
is very much what you were explaining. It's the water. The entire card, the Two of Swords, the traditional Rider-Waite Smith representation, has this huge body of water in the background. And the Two of
Mm-hmm.
Swords is a card of decision. So when we have that in reverse, it is really about indecision and not being able to make a choice, or feeling confused and feeling like, don't know whether to go, with my head or to go with my heart. And I'm sort of in the
Hmm.
sort of stuck, I guess, right? And
Right.
then right next to it, we have the Ten of Cups in reverse.
Oh, some more cups. Okay. Yep.
More cups, more water, and it feels very, and that's another one. The Ten of Cups is completion, and is this kind of a happy family, satisfaction, fulfillment, getting the riches, getting the rewards, seeing the happy end. But when it's reversed, we sort of return to the nine, which is sort of the wishing state, the thinking, the aspect of how do I get all of this? I'm putting in the effort, but I'm not necessarily still seeing the results. And it's very similar to the Two of Swords. So it feels like this energy of the serpent bearer, or Ophiuchus, is really about the sort of projection. What are we throwing into the universe? It sort of feels like manifester. What are we manifesting? What are we bringing through? And that's very much the transformative energy of the serpent energy, right? The
Mm-hmm.
shedding of skin and sort of relearning and growing and learning what to leave behind, which I feel like is really the Two of Swords. When it's in the upright energy, when we actually learn and acknowledge that this is an old version of me, new version is emerging. I need to let go of this in order for me to fully be able to embrace this new version with the upgrades, with the sort of new way of thinking or the new emotional regulations, all of that stuff. The most interesting part to me, I asked from the goddesses and sirens, since you started off and you got a very female energy, just to see what they have to say. Like, what's the energy of this constellation? And we got Yamaya, which is the Orisha of the water, of the oceans. She
What?
is
Okay, so it's definitely a
representative.
water.
Yeah, she is representative of oceans, water. Hope is her message. But she's very much the deep ocean, the unpredictable waters, and the safe homeland for many, many marine life. So I feel like this very much is the depth of psyche in a very similar fashion to Scorpio, but maybe
Okay.
a bit
Yeah.
adjacent, because I feel like Scorpio can be a bit stale. I Especially in its shadow aspect, I feel like it can get very stuck. I feel like this one is very moving. This is not a fixed energy, I feel like. I forget, is Scorpio
Okay.
a fixed sign or
Fixed is it's fixed. Yeah.
it's fixed?
Scorpio's fixed.
So I feel like this would more so be like a mutable water
Mhm.
aspect.
So this is interesting. Okay. Yeah, I like that. I think that fits. And this is gonna be the last card I'm gonna pull on it because I got that, I have to use this weird deck that I have. And it says raise your frequency, activate the 12 strands. Okay, this is
Did
what
you
it's talking
really
about.
get the how many
Okay,
strands?
so this it says 12 strands. But this is interesting because remember what I was just saying about this zodiac coming back into our lives?
Yes.
It's like, and what is people talking about all the time? Like raising your frequency from the 4D to the 5D and like this, higher knowledge and this and that. So it's almost to me like, yeah, the people that study the 12 and have raised and evolved their spirit and soul from that can kind of gain access to this 13th energy. Is kind of how I feel it.
Mm-hmm.
But this card in particular is talking about the Mary Magdalene, sitting in her cave, writing down her wisdom teachings. She's talking about this 12 strands of DNA. that are shown in her hair. So often thought of as an illuminator or initiator into the mysteries of Mary Magdalene. Um, so it's very interesting. So it's talking about like the DNA and basically what we're made of right here on Earth. And I think like when we add this card to what we're just talking about, yeah, it's almost like this zodiac has always been accessible to us, and when we're in that higher frequency, because when even looking at these cards, with the water and everything, it's really feeling like, yeah, you have to almost be like comfortable in yourself, comfortable in where you are in order to kind of like that two of swords open up for the energy.
Yeah.
It's bringing it back to the heart space, and kind of like Earth itself is the heart space, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, it's very interesting. I'm excited to see if this comes up more often now, or if there's actually going to be people like starting to read astrology with it. Like I almost feel like, with Pluto going into Aquarius and all these like technology changes, just revolutionary ideas coming to light, and just changing the way we think and approach systems that we've been dealing with.
Hmm.
It won't surprise me at all if this is going to kind of be like embraced
Yeah.
into the community.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting topic to explore. I think mathematically, just considering the way that astrology is read currently, we need to figure out a
Yeah.
system where it fits in and how that works. But I think it can be incorporated
Because
in
if you
some
even
sort of way.
think of astrology now too, is different than it used to be. Obviously,
Yeah,
like the wobble of the Earth and whatever, but even just the discovery of newer planets, further planets, and asteroids too,
yeah,
right? That
yeah.
it's kind of like in the past we couldn't really see them, so we didn't really like think of their energy or have access to it. Like if you think of like Neptune was discovered, I don't know, not that long ago, and some of the other outside planets. So like for me, like for a hidden zodiac, like being added into the mix, just like,
Yeah. I think
Pluto is, it's like it doesn't
it
really phase
is
me all that much. I'm not gonna,
true.
it's always evolving.
I think it just expands the same way the universe expands, right?
Yeah, it's like as our knowledge and yeah, expands and we see more, it's like we can handle more, we can know more, we can hold
Yeah,
more. So maybe this 13th zodiac back in the day was giving, one group of people too much power, and the other one, was, got rid of it for whatever their intention was, right? But
true.
really. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I feel like the resurgence is also divine timing.
True. I think I will also add one interesting thing that I don't know if you noticed, but you
Oh,
mentioned the card that you got was Mary Magdalene or relating to Mary
mhm.
Magdalene, right?
Right.
The 12 apostles, but there is also
Oh, yeah.
theories slash information that's been
Yes.
spread out that
She's the
Mary
13th.
Magdalene was the 13th apostle
Yes.
and that
Oh,
she also
Lord.
had written psalms and
Yep.
books just like the other apostles, but that they were removed, I think, around
Yeah.
5th century or something
Yeah.
to
They
incorporate
picked
a
which ones they were
more,
going to use.
yeah, a more patriarchal,
Yeah.
I guess, homeostasis that suited the ruling class at that point and to subjugate the women basically.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, and it's if you consider that as
Yeah.
like right another hidden
I'm so glad you
conspiratorial,
picked up on that because
right?
I don't know how I
It
didn't, but you're
went through my
totally
mind, and
right.
I'm
Like
like, I
that number
can't,
13,
I
it's
can't.
just it's magic. I feel
It
like that number
is
13 too is like, it got a bad rap over the years, but it was intentional because
it was
the
it
number
was
13 really breaks down to the number 4, which is stability. And I feel like 13 is like a feminine type of number almost,
yeah.
like, which is also the death card, which is Scorpio, which is feminine, but it's almost like stable feminine energy in that number. I don't know why, but it's
Hmm.
just. It just felt that way. I don't
It
know.
is. I
But
pulled.
long story short, and in conclusion,
Yeah,
yeah, I would say Ophiuchus is totally real.
it is. I pulled one card for
Yeah,
like to
I
see
would
what
love
the
to
energy
see if it's
is.
possible to like incorporate it into, our astrology.
I think
Like
we should try and
I'm gonna
figure it
try.
out. See what
I
comes
want to
up. We
try.
should try and figure it out how that would work.
Okay.
We
Oh,
can
you
try
have
and do
one
the
of
math.
those cards to finish us off. I
Yeah, I
love.
have one of these spiritual AF. I was just like, what's the vibe of this Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer? And you will start
Okay.
laughing. It is the
Okay.
universe is your sugar daddy. I don't know how appropriate that is, but I think what we got, like the depth, the manifestation, potential, all of that, it makes sense. So in the back, it says, we've all spent enough time feeling fucked by the universe to assume it's time we got showered with some real dope shit. Spend today letting the universe treat you like the arm candy you are. The simple act of changing your vibe to one of receiving and thanking the universe for all its cosmic bling will do the trick. Your mantra today is bring it poppy. I kind of think it's appropriate if we consider like the end of Scorpio into this Ophiuchus and then into Sagittarius, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
Scorpio sort of stepping into the dark, and then we sort of transition into Sagittarius, which is just like good luck and everything's great and fantastic and learning and expansion, blah blah blah. But we don't sort of see the exiting the dark from the Scorpio. So Scorpio is sort of just pulling us in. So I think Ophiuchus is sort of that we're moving out of the dark and climbing upwards, right? But anyway, I think
I love it.
I think that's pretty much it. Find us on social media. Let us know what you think about this. Let us know, do you think the Ophiuchus serpent bearer constellation is real or not? Look it up. Look at the photos, look at the documentation, Google it. We will have access to Google these days, or at least most of us. If not, go to a trusted friend that will Google for you. And again, find us social media, TikTok and Instagram under Divination Detectives. You can find Alex on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, I think, as well, under
Yep.
Guiding Moon. Uh,
Guiding
Guiding
Tarot.
Tarot. Sorry, guide. Where did I go with the moon?
Oh,
And
good.
myself under Tarot Shuffle on all of those platforms as well. So, have fun, stay safe, and let the serpent bearer bring its magic to you. Till next time.
Bye.